Welcome back, this is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome to the first part. Originally I was going to do Saturday, part 1, and today, part 2. But since I didn't get a chance yesterday, part 2 of this list will be next Sunday. And this is not going to be a top 10 list. This will be the top 50 pop hits, or pop songs, of all time, based on chart success and also influence in pop culture, and making an impact, the song as well. To keep these in mind. Now, today, of course, will be number 50 to number 26. And right before I reveal number 26, I'll do the first group of honorable mentions next Sunday, 25 to 1. And before number 1, of course, a line of honorable mentions. So, oh yeah, and I got 2 dishonorable mentions as well. Starting off today, this man is very well known for his parodies, oh yeah, and the artist is only allowed up to 2 songs on the list. So even if they have a huge amount of songs influential, it will be strictly narrowed down to only 2, their 2 biggest songs, or 2 of their biggest. Coming in at number 50 is known for being the king of parody, and that is Weird Al Yankovic. And the song that comes in at number 50 is his successful parody of Born This Way, and it's called Perform This Way, which is, of course, a parody of Lady Gaga's song, Born This Way. But Weird Al is definitely a veteran throughout the years, but this was more pop-ish song for him. Now, some of these songs can be of non-pop artists as long as the actual song was on pop charts and stuff. Coming in number 49, from the late great David Bowie, and his song called Let's Dance, which is a truly great song. Now, anybody who knows me personally knows this is my number 1 favorite song from David Bowie, but sadly it wasn't made a bigger impact overall than a lot of other songs on this list, unfortunately, because these are not based on my personal preferences. Coming in at number 48 is a song called Party in the USA, and I'm sure a lot of you know who it's by, and it's done by Miley Cyrus. Of course, this song was released prior to her completely going off the rails. And, yes. But, for the most part, and of course, I don't like her music at all. It's not my cup of tea. But, yeah, Party in the USA was really successful, and here on YouTube it has, I think the last time I looked, some like 300 or 400 million or more plus views. So yeah, it made a pretty big impact, and sadly they play the crap out of it on radio, which is why I don't listen to FM radio, just saying. Coming in number 47, this song only had a mild success on the Billboard charts. Now, it did actually get into the top 20 rank of the year it came out. It was in the top 20 songs on VH1 charts. And it was also, but it was hugely successful in the home country of the artist, in England, and it was pretty successful in Europe as well. This song is, of course, is by the great Paul McCartney, or Sir Paul McCartney. And the song is called Dance Tonight. It's actually a really great song. I'm sorry if you hear footsteps in the background, that's neighbors, being noisy as always. But it's a really great song. Coming in at number 46 is a song that was pretty successful around like 2010, 2011, made it pretty successful in the charts. It's by the well-known, or actually maybe around 2008, 2009 time frame. But it's done by, which is now pretty well-known, Adam Lambert. This was off of his debut album. And the song is called If I Had You, which was pretty successful. It remains one of his top 3 most viewed videos here on YouTube. And it was very successful in the charts. VH1 charts, MTV charts, and the Hot 100 charts of Billboard. It had pretty good success run. It remained on the VH1 charts, I believe, for some like 12 or 13 weeks. Coming in at number 45, from the former frontman of the boy band 98 Degrees, that being Nick Lachey, and the song which he did partially, it was targeted towards his ex, Jessica Simpson, and the song is called What's Left of Me. Now, this song had pretty decent success on the pop charts, VH1 charts, also on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. If I remember correctly, I believe it made it into like the top, may have made it into like the top 20 or 30 songs on the Hot 100 charts. And it remained on the top of the charts for more than 3 months. So, needless to say, it was pretty successful. And it still remains his most successful solo song. Coming at number 44. Originally, this song, when it debuted on the second album by this artist called Plum, which, by the way, is a good artist and you should check him out. This was off her second album called Catholic Resolve, which is a great album. And if you're a fan of, like, Evanescence or others, trust me, you would enjoy this album by this artist. This song was mildly successful on Christian music charts because this was probably, if I remember correctly, was number 1 on the Christian pop charts for quite a long time. But then when they ended up using the song in that crappy show called Vampire Diaries, it skyrocketed into the Hot 100 list charts of VH1. And it's hands down her most successful song, mainly thanks to that stupid show. It has to do with sort of the emo issues and stuff of emos, like cutting himself and stuff. The song is called Cut by Plum. Good song. It does have a deeper message. Lyrically speaking, it's probably one of the strongest songs on this entire list. If you bother to actually read the story and stuff into the song, it's really solid, really well done. Even though I despise that show, I'll give it credit for at least making this song more popular. And because I'm not one of those hipster types who doesn't like some just because it becomes popular. I could care less. If I like it, I like it. And that's how it is. Coming in at number 43 is from, of course you know she was going to be on here eventually, Lady Gaga, with her first of 2 songs on this list. At 43, her first one, and that is her hugely successful, insanely successful song Bad Romance, which has one of the most unique pop videos, I will say, I've ever seen, to be fair. I'll give her points for her unique, unusual style. Her style is not really my cup of tea, but I give her credit for at least some originality to her style. Musically, not original, but at least her videos are more original, and I appreciate things like that, personally. But the song is for me, but obviously a lot of people loved it given how well the Fame Monster album sold, and this was the single that put that album onto the charts. And it remains to date one of her top 3 most successful singles so far. And trust me, she's already one of the top 10 best-selling female music artists of all time, which is insane to think about in just a period of 8 years. It's crazy. Coming in at number 42 is a song. Originally in the 90s, this band was sort of a more grunge type genre band, even though they're from Britain. But in more recent years, their style would change to more pop rock. In 2006, with their first album in like 7 or 8 years, called what's it called, a Young Modern Station or something like that, from the British band called Silverchair. And this was a pretty successful, definitely on the European MTV charts, European pop charts. It was mildly successful on US charts. And it was actually very successful in the VH1 charts. It remained on their list for something like 15, 16 weeks, so around 4 months it remained on the charts. Though it kept seesawing back and forth in rank. And that is their song called Straight Lines. And it's actually a really interesting song, and you should really check it out. I think I've added a Straight Lines music video, and if I haven't, I will, to my list of favorite music videos. And yeah, you should really check out the song. Check out the album, Young Modern Station. It's a really enjoyable album. And if you appreciate good British pop music, or just in general, like a little bit of some of the music, like Straight Lines, is a little bit of a different style than a lot of European pop music, but in the Father in the album has a more traditional British pop sound to it that reminds me more of the time period of like the 60s and 70s British pop. And personally, I like British pop more than American pop, but that's just me. Some of their artists put a little more time and effort into it. Coming in at number 41, coming from the super well-known former frontman of NSYNC, Justin Timberlake, off of his second solo album called Future Sex Love Sounds, which remains one of the best-selling, like the top 5, top 6 best-selling albums of the 2000s. It has sold over like 20 million copies, and it produced 8 singles, and that's insane to think about, 8 singles from one album. And this, hands down, was the first real big single off the album. And the song is called Sexy Back. And it's a really good, well-done song. And as I will say, for the most part, style-wise, I actually like Justin Timberlake's style, at least off that particular album. And I love that he always performed in suits. Because I like the classy style of Timberlake. You don't see that in a lot of pop artists of nowadays. A more class style to his music and performances. So I have to give Timberlake credit where credit's due. And this was definitely a successful song. Not my favorite song off the album, I will say. But obviously a lot of people liked it, given it was on the charts for over 20 weeks. And yes, I do believe it made it to number 1 on the Billboard charts. And coming in at number 40, from the super, of course, probably the most successful boy band out of the 90s, and the only one that's actually still around today. Though one member left. Backstreet Boys comes in at number 40 with their song called Incomplete. Would be the first single off their album after them reunite after being on hiatus for like 6 or 7 years. It would be their first single off their first album in like 7 years. So yeah, it was hugely successful. Though the song actually had more of a pop rock tone than a boy band tone. Though in more recent albums since then, they've gone more back to their roots of being more pop. But I thought the song was actually kind of refreshing and different compared to other Backstreet songs. Keep in mind that's just my view on the song, but yeah, it had real good success on all the pop charts. No surprise there, though. Coming in at number 39 is from the British pop band Newsboys, which became on the scene in the late 90s, early millennia. Then they kind of disappeared off the charts, though they're still around and doing music. It's just that was when they reached their peak in popularity. The song is called Beautiful Sound. It's a really good song. It's a really good example of how good British pop is. That's one thing I'll say. I think Britain produces way better pop than any other country. After them, I would say probably Japan produces the best pop. And keep in mind, this has come from a rock metal fan, more or less, but I do appreciate some good pop music. Coming in at number 38 is from the super well-known, of course, Queen of Pop, Madonna. And her song called Papa Don't Preach. And, yeah, needless to say, it was super successful on the charts. It is, to this day, is reminded to be one of the top staples of Madonna when she was at her peak in the 80s. Papa Don't Preach is definitely probably in her top 5 most beloved songs of the 80s. And I understand, I'm not a Madonna fan, but even I can say that I actually, to an extent, actually enjoyed this song. And, yeah, as I repeat, I'm not a Madonna fan at all. Coming in at number 37 is from the well-known pop rock band Lifehouse. And the song is called You and Me. Now, this song already have pretty good success on the charts, and if you look on YouTube, it's probably their most viewed video on YouTube. It's also became super well known thanks to an episode in towards the end of season 4 of Smallville. And Smallville really, Smallville I think pushed Lifehouse music more than any other artist on the show ever. Because I can count, at least out of the 10 seasons of Smallville, I can point out probably at least 12 or 13 Lifehouse songs throughout the entire show period. And of those songs, eventually like 6 of them would become #1 hits on the Billboard charts. They are definitely one of the most successful pop rock crossover bands of all time, hands down. So it's pretty impressive. Coming at number 36 is the first of 2 songs from the, I call the future, really, of pop music, though her style is more a crossover of pop R&B. And of course that is Rihanna, which is personally probably my favorite female artist in that genre of music. Just because I appreciate her style, though I don't like all her music. And this is off of her Rated R album, which was a very successful single called Russian Roulette. They have a very classy sound, a very more calm, easygoing tone to it, very good beats, very good rhythms, and it's just altogether a really well put together song. Coming in at number 35 is from, well, the original, as far as I'm concerned, Queen of Pop Music. Has more talent in her finger than Madonna has, or most female pop artists. And that is Cher, with her very highly successful 1999 song, Believe. Which, of course, the main chorus, Do You Believe in Life After Love? And she was really one of the first artists, I'd say, probably made auto-tune really popular. Because she was one of the first artists that really was experimenting with that. Because can you name many other artists in the 90s that were experimenting with auto-tune and techno? She was one of the first ones really crossing over pop and techno together. That's the thing, she was a trend setter. Coming in at number 34 is from the super highly successful pop group Maroon 5, and a song off their super successful album from, I believe it was 2006-2007 time frame, and the song is called Makes Me Wonder, which of course they wore similar clothes to what I'm wearing now. And it's one thing else I'll give a lot of music videos and stuff they've done, Maroon 5 at least dresses classy. So that's another point I have to give to them, just like Timberlake. They have good fashion sense. And yeah, I thought because of the countdown that I'd wear like more dressed up clothes and stuff, at least on like my Sunday top list. So yeah. Coming in at number 33 is the song that this Simpson would become infamous for screwing up on the lip syncing on Saturday Night Live. And of course that is Ashlee Simpson and her single Pieces of Me. And to an extent, it's actually a tolerable song, I will say. I can tolerate listening to the song, and I actually think that she sounds 10 times better than her sister Jessica Simpson. Yet somehow Jessica was the one who ended up becoming more successful. Who can figure that out? Coming in at number 32 is from the super, not so well known now, but in the 2000s she was super highly successful in the mid-2000s in particular. And this is the artist, which I think is one of the most beautiful, personally, women in pop music, period. And of course, she is actually Latina. Very beautiful, very lovely voice, and I think she has done some really great music. And I love some of her music videos because she's done like 3 music videos in black and white. And I love that classy tone. And this artist is called Nelly Furtado. And this single from her is called Say It Right, which is not bad. And in the background music and stuff for this song was actually produced by Timbaland, which is, of course, become very well known for helping with songs and stuff from different artists. Coming in at number 31 is from the legendary European pop group, which has been around since the 80s, experimenting with techno since the 80s. They were really one of the original experimental groups. And this is, of course, the well-known group called Depeche Mode. And this is off of their last album. This is their most successful single off the album. It's called Heaven. Great techno mix, great beats, great rhythms, and even the lyric writing is pretty good. That's one thing. I can say Depeche Mode is one of those few artists that seems to stay good. It doesn't matter that they've been around over 30 years now. Like 32, 33 years they've been around now. And still, for me personally, my personal favorite album is like 30 years old now. That's called Black Celebration, which produced a song called Stripped, which would be covered by Rammstein in the late 90s. But yes, definitely Depeche Mode and Heaven is a great song. If you have never listened to Depeche Mode, seriously check them out. Check that out. Check out Welcome to My World. And they've done so many other good songs like Personal Jesus and so many others. Coming in at number 30 is the princess of pop music, Britney Spears. Sadly. But yeah. And this is her highly successful, probably her most successful song out of definitely the late 2000s. And that is her song Womanizer, which has produced somewhere in the region of like 300 or 400 million views on YouTube and made it to number 1 on the Billboard charts, of course, and was super highly successful around the world on all pop charts. I don't know why it became so successful, but hey, it did. Coming at number 29 is the pop rock crossover band The Killers, with a very interesting style song. That's one thing, Killers isn't exactly your traditional pop rock type artist. And the whole entire album or music video for this song was filmed in Tokyo, Japan. So I give you credit for that. The song is called Read My Mind, which remains one of their most successful singles out of their career thus far. And this isn't a band that I really care much for musically, though I admit I actually don't mind this particular song. But I'm kind of biased since they did do it in Japan. But good song overall. You should check them out if you want something that's not more your normal mainstream traditional pop rock style. Check out The Killers. Coming in number 28 is from the hugely successful pop rock band The Fray. And this is called Over My Head, the cable car. Yeah, Over My Head cable car. Okay song, and also was a song that was featured on Smallville. Surprise, surprise. But very successful. Coming at number 27 is from the king of pop music himself, Michael Jackson. And this is his song off of his best-selling album called Beat It, coming at number 27. Definitely a pretty good song overall, and of course, Weird Al would do a parody called Eat It. Here's some honorable mentions before number 26, the last of this week. Honorable mentions. Ashley Simpson, Out of My Head. Five for Fighting, Superman. And two dishonorable mentions. Miley Cyrus, We Can't Stop, and Justin Bieber, Baby. And coming in number 26, or top of this particular part 1, is from the well-known 1980s pop group Dead or Alive, and their super well-known, super highly successful 80s song, You Spin Me Around. Yeah, so needless to say, super highly successful. As always, this is Goku-san DBZ signing out. See you next Sunday for the second half of Top 50 Pop Hits of All Time. And leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite pop songs are, who your favorite pop artist is. And I'll see you next time. Same YouTube chime, same YouTube channel. And tell me what you think of my trying to go more classy look with my videos, topless. Tell me if you want me to continue or just go back to normal shirt. Like, normal music artist shirts and stuff like that. Anyways, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, and as well as see me, of course, or follow me on Google Plus as well. So, see you next time again here in YouTube land.